Welcome guys to the Dickens Bulletin. So today we want to look at hustlers. So hustlers to cry fall because William Samoei Arap Ruto and the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, they were sworn in as the fifth President of the Republic of Kenya on September 2022, September 13th. They were sworn in as Kasarani. Rigathi Gachagua's first remarks I can remember was to say that the former regime left nothing, even rats ran away because there were nothing to eat. So they gave Kenyans hope. They were campaigning on the Hustlers platform. So these guys were giving hope to hustlers. Rigathi Gachagua even said that hii mambo ya makesi ndio imefanya askari bado hawajaongezewa mshahara. President William Ruto, the first executive order was to avert the operations of the port from Naivasha to Mombasa. That was the campaign promise. The second thing he did was to swear in the judges. He gave one of the dynasties, that is President Uhuru Kenyatta, the former president. He was the first person to be given a job at Kasarani Stadium. President Uhuru Kenyatta was to be the Kenyan envoy to the peace mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo. So hustlers today are gnashing, they are crying, they are wallowing in poverty. They have turned from hustlers to sufferers. So this what's happening today. Today is around today is 26th of January 2023, and people are seeing dust. Even the people who are celebrating, they were saying that hustler wetu. Today they are seeing fire. So if you are on this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click on the subscribe button. You can also add it to the notification bell, or you like it, so that our content can be recommended to more viewers. So you can also click on the notification bell so that anytime we produce a video like this, you'll get notified. Dickens Bulletin, we talk about politics. If you love politics, this is where to come. So we want to talk about how hustlers have turned from hustling or from hustlers to sufferers. President William Ruto is today outside Kenya, and this one is after campaigning in Mount Kenya in a so-called Thanksgiving ceremony, whereby Rigathi Gachagua says that wawachiwe yule mtu wa kitendawili watadeal na yeye, ati wao ni vijana wa maumau. President William Ruto also was bragging. He was also caught on camera bragging that Raila Odinga is just doing Maya, maandamano and all those stuff, and he will complete his 5-year term. I don't know whether you agree with him, but there is life outside there. Because according to me, I'm seeing life is not so much easy with hustlers. They are sufferers nowadays. So we want to look at some of the economic policies or blunders that President William Ruto has made, which are making Kenyans to feel on the heat. The first reason is that President William Ruto has just struck a deal with the IMF. IMF is an International Monetary Fund organization, which is an United Nations organization which deals with the funding economies and maybe working on financial capabilities of these guys, of these countries or different states. So President William Ruto has gave in to the IMF. I don't know when did they reach the agreement, but is strictly following the script by the IMF. The IMF recommendations, remember, they were done or they were tried in Kenya. The last time was in Moi's era. In Moi's regime, which was overtaken or which was succeeded by President Kibaki's regime in 2002, was that President Moi Kibaki or President Daniel Moi by then was told by IMF to abolish any kind of subsidy, anything called subsidy. IMF told them to do away with it, and that is the exact script that they are using on William Ruto. They told William Ruto that all subsidies are bad and that the government must increase taxes. My friend, there is no country which can develop or which can prosper by overcharging its citizens. If so, countries should, by the way, should reduce taxes to increase the tax base so that they can earn more. So this one is what President William Ruto is following. President William Ruto is following the IMF rules, and he has announced that everybody must pay taxes, which is a very smart move. There were some people who are evading taxes. I don't know whether him and his colleagues and Raila and other colleagues, all these politicians, we don't know whether they are always paying taxes. But if a government can follow them up and ensure that they pay taxes, then this country can be far away. Then we also see that President William Ruto was told by the IMF to abolish subsidy. There were some subsidies which were good and there were others which were not good. Though I agree with President Ruto that no economy has ever grown by subsidy because it's expensive on the citizen. You know, subsidy is just kind of an expenditure. So these ones, there's some kind of recurrent expenditure. So there's no government which can maybe do with subsidy and then they succeed, but there is a limit, or there is some situations which require subsidy. For example, this economy is on its deathbed. Rigathi Gachagua said that they inherited dilapidated economy. When they inherit dilapidated economy, it means that they should try to revive it. You cannot revive an economy by increasing the fuel prices. That is the levies on fuel and all this stuff, because it's the fuel which determines the price of the basic commodities. Because I told you guys that, you know, fuel is the driver of the economy. It's one of the main factors of production, which is labor. Because without fuel, there is no labor. You know, you cannot transport goods from one place to another without fuel, actually. So fuel is what always determines the price of goods and services in a country. So in a country where fuel is very expensive, like in Kenya, and you remove subsidy further, you make it worse by removing subsidy, it will be more worse, because these people or these guys, they depend on fuel. No any country in the world can survive without fuel. The more expensive the fuel, the more expensive the life is. So when you want to improve people's lives, you reduce the cost of fuel. How do we reduce the cost of fuel? When there is a problem in the market or the global market, what the governments usually do is to subsidize that fuel, so that the common mwananchi, the common man like me and you watching down there, even the big man like you watching, you know, you can get that fuel with an ease, you know. So this is the major problem in this country. So President William Ruto, the first thing that he was told by IMF was to abolish the fuel subsidy, and it is now dawning on Kenyans, or the hustlers, as they are now facing the realities of economics. Another thing that President William Ruto, the poor economic policies, is that there is misplaced priorities. When you look at the governments, the composition of government now and today, we have got the prime cabinet secretary slot, which is not even in the constitution. So in this country, we are paying people who are not even in the constitution, but we are paying people for president's benefits. You know, there are some guys who are there because of President William Ruto's maybe desire to reward them, you know, so that they can stick with him. We call him political creation of offices. This was what President William Ruto used to say, that hakuna kugawana vio na mamlaka katika serikali yao. When they get power, you know, the first people, the first hustlers to be given job were filthy rich hustlers. The other time when they were being interviewed, you were shocked, because actually I was shocked, because I didn't know that Musalia Mudavadi has got 4 billion, or is worth 4 billion. That is the wealth. That is the net worth, which is even a lie. Sometimes he has more. I don't know. Then I was shocked to see that others are having 700 million. Some others, so hustlers are very rich. They're super rich. They're filthy rich. So these are the problems that we are currently facing. So the recurrent expenditure is increasing, but the IMF suggestion is that we should cut the expenditure, so that at least we can have some money meant for development. Then, so that we should not borrow more and use the money cut off from the recurrent expenditure, the government expenditure, to be used in maybe development, constructing roads, so that we cannot borrow more. So the President Ruto is doing actually the opposite. He is following all other script of the IMF, but he's not following the script of this one of cutting the government expenditure, the size of the government. Instead, he has increased the size of the government. Even when you check out the number of PSs in this regime, the hustler regime, the PSs are very many. So this guy is doing the exactly opposite what he was saying in the campaign trail. At least Raila Odinga was a bit truthful, because he was talking about doing this and this and this. So hustlers are feeling the heat We are also seeing President Ruto talking about slashing subsidies from the university level and even secondary level. There was a program by the former regime, the Uhuru Kenyatta's regime, which was told Maliza Wende. This regime, they used to give people subsidy. They used to give students subsidy. Students in high school, they were being given subsidy. But you know, when the Hustler government got into power, you know what happened? The last time I checked, they said that they were going to increase the school fees and people are suffering. The prices of the commodities have gone up. When you are going to maybe to buy uniforms, the parents are complaining. When they're going to buy books, books have skyrocketed. The prices are very high. So people are suffering. Hustlers are facing the heat. They are feeling the heat. So hustlers are crying foul that what about the promises were given? So the promises will wait for until Jesus comes. Then and the next thing is that President William Ruto has been on the too much talk than action. You know, what they say, action speaks louder than words. I don't know how true the saying is. You can also maybe interpret on your own perspective. But according to my perspective, is that the government of the president in power should not be speaking too much, should not be answering opposition too much. They should be concentrating on working. They should be concentrating on delivery. Even Musalia Mudavadi saw it and he told Rigathi Gachagua that it's not time to give out blame games. Blame games will not help because before you realize it will be around 2027. Then we shall have done nothing apart from talk and too much talk and talk. The country will be where it will be worse than the way it was. So these guys, if they wanted to shape they wanted to change the nation or to change the lives of hustlers, they would have just decided to just keep quiet, talk less and act more. Because when you talk less, you act more, we get the results. Action speaks louder than words. I can repeat that 5 times. Another thing that maybe made William Ruto or the president to maybe people start crying about his regime is that they are playing too much politics. These guys are more of going to the churches and maybe Thanksgiving. The Thanksgiving is too much. My friend, you won the election. We don't don't want to know how you won the election, but we want to see the service delivery that you promised Kenyans. So these guys, they should know that it will be the people will be answerable to the mwananchi, not to the opposition, because the opposition will always play politics. So if you guys can you just take the road of Kibaki? You always say that you want to take the country where Kibaki left it. If you want to go the Kibaki way, Kibaki was a man of few words. President Mwai Kibaki was a man of joy, a man of kazi too. The guy will say that if you cannot do work, wewe ni mavya kuku, mbafu sana, binadamu mavya kuku. That's how President Kibaki used to say it. Because Kibaki believed that speaking too much will not solve anything. And that's why President Mwai Kibaki decided to work, not to speak or to answer the opposition the way the current regime are doing. Another thing is the overdoing of the PR. These guys are doing the PR stunts are too much because these guys, they could go somewhere, they launch the Uhuru Kenyatta's project. That is very good. But you should not just talk too much about it and say, give other promises, do what and this. If you go to somewhere, just launch your own projects, maliza zile zenye ziko pale, then it will be good. Try not to give too much promises because too much promises sometimes becomes very difficult to deliver. So that's why Kenyans are feeling the heat. Another thing is that there has been the climate change. The climate change has been adversely affecting Kenya because you know Kenya is a country dependent on agriculture so that it can produce its foods. So we find that nowadays there's no rainfall and guys, people are suffering because you know when there's too much sunshine, there's no rainfall and all these ng'ombe zinakufa from the farm, there's nothing coming, there's no bumper harvest like we used to have. I don't know, Kenya depends on ugali. That's why the price of maize has just remained high. And there are a number of cartels because when they talk of exporting or importing the GMO, 50 million bags from Mexico or from where, these guys, they always bungle these things and they take them as personal property. They sell at the price they want. And these guys, they are there. You cannot, they're in the supply chain. It is very difficult to identify them because they are working with the people within the state. So it's always very difficult to catch them so that you can solve the equation of unga. So these guys, it's very difficult to maybe tame the price of unga because of the climate change, because you cannot depend on the importation of the GMO product or the GMO maize. Or let's talk of any maize from outside Kenya, because outside Kenya, we have got hyenas in the name of cartels. They're just waiting for the tenders to be given They will supply hewa, then they will take the money. So these guys, it's very difficult. That's why you see the price of unga is declining. If it's decreasing slowly at a very slow rate. So guys, I don't know whether I don't know how you, I don't know what about your opinion, because that's my own opinion in this channel. You can just give me your opinion in the comment section. That's where I can stop it today. I just want to tell you that the current regime, Kenyans should brace for more, brace for more, jitayarishe kuona maajabu. So I want to remind you guys, as I am signing out, I'm requesting you that if you haven't subscribe to this channel, and it's called the DK's Bulletin, or the DK Show. We always analyze politics. At times we will come up with the revision. We will have a teacher here. He will be teaching us live on camera, so that the students we have by the end of the year, they will be having something to write in their class, in the examinations. We also request everybody that if you are watching this channel for the first time, please take your second or two, click on the subscribe button, click on the notification bell, so that anytime that we produce a video like this, you will get notified. You can also decide to like it, so that it can be recommended by YouTube to more viewers. If you click on the notification bell, anytime we produce a video like this, you'll get notified. Subscription, please subscribe. You can even go to YouTube, you watch it 2 minutes, but ensure that you subscribe before you sign out. So thank you guys, still have a time. Lovely Thursday. Thank you.